Bihar boy from Bargusaray builds a business well on its way to $1 billion valuation. And in doing so, he rights a wrong suffered by his family when he was a child. Join me for the extraordinary story of Ankit Agrawal and InsuranceDekho.
Do you find it challenging to navigate through various insurance policies to find the best fit for you and your family? Don't worry, we have you covered. InsuranceDekho serves as your one-stop destination for all your insurance needs, providing a seamless and comprehensive solution. Whether you're seeking health coverage or want protection for your home or car, InsuranceDekho is your one-stop solution. Founded by Ankit Agrawal, InsuranceDekho has emerged as a leader in the insurance industry, providing a diverse range of insurance options tailored to your specific requirements. Under the leadership of Agrawal, InsuranceDekho has raised over $200 million so far. The achievement marks a significant milestone for the company, solidifying its position as a leader in the insurance industry. With a commitment to excellence in customer satisfaction, InsuranceDekho continues to innovate and set new standards. Join us as we take you on a business journey of the most trusted platform in the insurance industry, which provides you protection and peace of mind.
And now we're joined by Ankit Agrawal, founder of InsuranceDekho. Ankit, welcome to Billion Dollar Idea.
Thank you so much, Jasper. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
The honor is all ours. Now, you're a great reader, okay? You love books. You're kind of stuck. We're stuck with each other telling your story today. But if you could choose any author to tell your story, who would it be?
Mario Puzo.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Godfather fame.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that later. I feel a little threatened by the Godfather analogy. But here we are, and you get a real buzz from the energy of this team, right? But take us back to where it started. Banya family out of Calcutta, actually in Bihar before. How on earth did you get here?
So 2012, when I came back to India from the US, my father was in hospital for quite some time. And when my father was getting discharged from the hospital, we had a really bad time getting him discharged. We had to pay a lot of money to the hospital as bills, and that in spite of him having an insurance policy for over 10 years, because there were certain terms and conditions which he had not read. And I was like, if this is happening to him,
and he's a chartered accountant.
He was a chartered accountant too. So I was like, if this can happen to him and it can happen to me, then there is a genuine problem to be solved. I wanted to do something in insurance then only, but I think 2012 to 15, it took me 3 years to figure out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do. 2015 is when I joined the InsuranceDekho group, and I got a chance to build out InsuranceDekho here.
Okay, but and along the way, you took yourself off to the States.
Yeah.
Was that journeying, or was it part of a deliberate thought process?
I was a finance student. I did my BCom honors, then I was a chartered accountant. Post that, I did my master's in finance and control. So after that, I went to the US to work for 3 years with the investment bank, UBS. In 2012 is when I decided to come back to India. I think those 3 years were one of the most formative years for me from a professional perspective. I got to see how global companies are built up close. I got to see what it takes to build out a global company. The Facebook IPO happened when I was there. I was a part of the team that took companies like LinkedIn public. It was fascinating, to just sit across the table and get a ringside view of Amazon going from $175 to $800.
Yeah, right? once in a generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you come into InsuranceDekho, and InsuranceDekho, Amit has this interesting expression. I think you have it too, which is House of Founders. What does that mean?
Both. I think if you look at traditional Indian businesses, you look at the Birlas, the Tatas, you look at the Bajaj, the reason why they've been able to build such large business conglomerates is because they've gotten professional people, made sure they align the long-term wealth creation of these professional folks with the larger goals of the business, and then give them complete freedom. I think that is something which Amit has also picked up, and that I have picked up from Amit. That is why we say InsuranceDekho Group is a house of founders, right? We find people with entrepreneurial mindset having the same values and ethos as us. We empower them to grow, and we align their long-term growth prospect with the growth prospect of the company.
Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit more. I mean, all the data, the metrics, the way your business runs, is publicly available. But let's think about this idea of brand, right? You go back to your father, right? He trusted something, and it turned out to be misplaced trust fundamentally. This is all about trust, but how do you build that as a brand? You're only 6 years old.
So I think what you're asking is a very deep question. I firmly believe that I'm privileged to be born in an era where dissemination of information is extremely quick and extremely cheap. If I had to build out InsuranceDekho 15 years ago, it may have taken me 2x the time to build that same level of brand and same level of trust. Given the way marketing is done these days, if you're solving for the right problem in the right way, then people know about you, right? That is part A. Part B, I firmly believe that if you're solving for a right problem with your heart at the right place and your mind at the right place, then you will build a business which people will know on their own. People will come looking for you.
So in your mind, the brand thing is a kind of deep emotional thing. It comes from within. Okay, so you've got this brand, you're distributing left, right, and centre. But in order to do that, of course, no money, no honey. And you get a leg up, of course, from InsuranceDekho, but I don't suppose they would have continued to subsidise you. How did you even get your head around the mountains of capital relatively you need to grow a business like this? One,
I think we believe that you should not subsidize any business. So I don't think InsuranceDekho subsidized at any point. Incubated, yes. They incubated us. They gave us the right value system. They gave us the right belief system, which allowed us to go in the outside world and talk to like-minded investors, talk to like-minded partners who are going to be with us over the next decade and help us build out a company which is solving for the problem of insurance penetration in the country.
But had you done that before? Had you pitched to people like this, the Goldmans and the TVSs, all these guys?
I was a banker. I was an investment banker, so obviously I interacted with them. But I believe they are also human beings like us, right? Though they work in storied firms like Goldman Sachs, TVS Capitals, MUFGs of the world, they are also human beings like us. So if you are solving for a genuine problem and you're able to explain the problem that you're solving to them and the results that are happening because of that, it just makes your life that much easier.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, in the next section, we'll get on to talk about some more about how the business works and how you do that. But I'm totally with you. When I pitch businesses for money, I tend to get most of my results from just being brutally honest and human, partly because it sets you apart.
That's why we all say the Britishers are the best business pitchers in the world, right? Because you are brutally honest.
That's true. Yeah. Right. Should we go into the next section?
Please, let's go ahead.
Come.
Thank you.
Ankit, a bit like you, I used to, a long time ago, work in a bank. And so I know that as a bias, it's full of quantitative, logical, rational people, kind of often high on IQ. The prejudice is low on EQ. But you can't have 2,000 people and lead them without EQ. Has that been a journey for you, or does it come easily?
So I think I come from a small village/district in India called Begusrai, and in that district, or I think in the real Bharat as we call it, you learn how to live with emotions. And my grandfather was a shopkeeper. We had our own clothes shop. We also had a small jewelry shop. So very early on in my childhood, my grandfather taught me how to deal with people in an emotional manner.
Okay, always customer facing.
Yes, my grandfather always told me that if you behave with people in the right form and factor, they will always stand by you and they will always be there for you. And I've seen that multiple times in my life. So I think what my grandfather taught me and what I saw my father practicing stayed with me in life. And I believe people forget everything that you do, but they do not forget how you made them feel. So if you make somebody feel like wow, they will always be there with you.
Well, it's a bit like your point on brand, isn't it? It comes down to a kind of authenticity, and it's not values on a wall. It's you believe them or
Absolutely.
they're irrelevant.
Absolutely.
But what about when you try and, so I mean, you're bringing in people all the time. Average age here is?
Between 23 to 24 years.
You're making me feel old. But how do you inculcate your own personal values in a group this big? Is it a system thing? Is it a culture thing? Is it an example thing?
One, I think two things. We lay a lot of emphasis on retaining, grooming and growing people internally. Second, make sure that you are meeting and talking to people more often. So every month I do small town halls, I set up power sessions with people, we do a large town hall every quarter. The
Together.
more you communicate,
Together.
yes, the more you communicate with people, the more they know about you.
Yeah.
The more they know about your vision. See, ultimately a founder and his leadership team define the way a company is going to be run. And within the founder and the leadership team, there is a lot of, a lot of cohesion between our team, right? So we are more like family. So when you see my emails also, which I write to my larger organization, I do not write, we are your employer. We say, thank you for being there with me, ID family.
We are short of words when we talk about Ankit. He's someone who is highly approachable, right? He's there on the floors, right? If you want to directly knock to his cabin, he's there. Even if he's in the middle of a meeting, you can speak to him as per his availability, right? If you want any kind of guidance, if you've done anything amazing, right, he will be there to give a pat at your back and motivate you all the time, because he is always himself also very motivated.
Do you find it on a personal level? Do you find it emotionally quite exhausting?
No, I enjoy it.
Do you?
I feel
You get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I feel being a leader is a privilege. Being an entrepreneur is a privilege. God has given me that privilege where I have 2,000 people working with me, solving a problem through 1.5 lakh people who are spread across 98% of India's PIN codes.
Okay, so just staying a bit on India, let's talk about the interface between the private and public sectors, right? You're in a regulated environment.
Sure.
Do you find it interesting and productive to work with government? Are their skills evolving?
Well,
Talk a bit about this.
See, it is very easy to criticize a regulator, or it is very easy to criticize a government.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult to put yourself in their shoes and think, why are they doing something? Whatever they build, they don't have to build for one company or for 2 people. They have to build for 1.5 billion people. India is a country of 150 crores.
It's a big job.
Yeah, you have to solve for those people. Second, they also have the responsibility to keep the financial savings of people safe. So when they're doing something, I'm sure there's a lot of thought process. The regulator and the government has now started a process of open dialogue, which was not happening in the earlier regime.
And in many ways, India's always been a very outward-looking, very international place. It's just we've come back to it, right?
Absolutely.
In a way, okay. Should we go and talk about you in the next section?
Let's do that.
Let's do it. Ankit, can we talk about you?
Sure.
Okay, I've been here a few hours. Thank you for hosting us. I've seen you do an event with Marie Com, right? I've met your friend who's MS Dhoni's agent. I've seen you pitch to a panel for an award. I've seen you take multiple phone calls. I know you've got meetings after this. You have to see a friend, and then you're getting on a flight to Tokyo. How do you keep the energy up?
These people, they give me the energy.
Well, it's easy to say, right? I mean, that's
No, I mean it. I mean it. Every day in the morning, the moment I walk in, I walk on all the floors of the company. I go and say good morning to every single person. But when I see their smiling faces, when I see them looking at me, it just gives me so much of pleasure. And it also gives me that feeling of gratitude. I want to thank these guys. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank the Almighty for giving me the opportunity that I have 2,000 people in my InsuranceDekho family every single day, every single moment.
Talking about work culture primarily, so first it radiates out of, our CEO, Mr. Ankit Agrawal. The way he is built the organization, he makes sure that at any given point of time, any festival, he makes sure he wishes everybody individually. He has imbibed that culture. So everybody feels like family.
Well, and it's very interesting listening to you because I'm with you in the sense that I subscribe to the idea that the antidote to stress is not therapy, it's gratitude and supporting others, right?
Yeah.
Because it removes you from yourself.
Yeah, Absolutely. I couldn't agree on this point.
Okay, so I know a bit about, let's talk about outside of work, what time you have. I know you're married to your work in some senses. You love books. How else do you entertain yourself?
So, I really like reading books, and I can read on any subject, anything, you know. I just like picking up random books and I like reading them at any point of time. I'm reading 2 or 3 books together. So this just helps me detox. Second, I love music. I really love Punjabi music.
Do you?
Really love Punjabi music.
I'll show you my Bhangra later.
Yeah. So I really like Daljit Dosanjh and a bunch of other Punjabi singers. Third, I like driving. I've just bought a Thar. So I put on some good Punjabi music and I go on those long drives, which is my me time. Also, I lost my father, so my mother lives with me. So I spend a lot of time with my mother. I really like spending time with her, just being there with her. That's very, very therapeutic for me.
Ankit, I think we're in the final straight here, but just a couple more things. You're an inspiration to many, many entrepreneurs out there, from our viewers or fellow entrepreneurs. What's a couple of top tips for them?
So I think over the last 3-4 weeks, I've been very privileged to meet 3 great legendary sports people. I met Mary Kom today morning. I met the great Saurav Ganguly on Friday evening. And 2 weeks before that, I met Suresh Raina. 3 things which stood out for me from all 3 of them, and all 3 of them had common things to say. 1, surround yourself with people who are better than you. If you surround yourself with talent which is better than you, they push you to the next level. They force you to think in the right direction. They force you to do the right things. Second, always have gratitude. Every single person that I met, they all said every day in the morning they spend 10 to 15 minutes only saying thank you to God, nothing else. Just saying thank you. So gratitude is very important. Last but not the least, trust the process. A lot of times in life we feel, why is this happening to me? Why is the other person getting more?
Yeah.
But you don't understand that life has an art and a science to it. You just have to trust the process. If you trust the process, everything else falls into place.
Okay, so get the best people, be grateful for everything, trust the process. And the final question, I mean, you've done a lot of amazing things in your young life. What do you see as the hardest thing that you've done, or the thing that you found most difficult?
When I think there comes a time in your life when you start compromising on your family life. So for me, I think the hardest thing was when I just could not be there with my parents. And I still regret that.
Well, that's a good place to sign off. Ankit Agrawal, we've just met, right?
Thank you.
And we honour your father, and I'm pretty sure from wherever he is now, he'd be incredibly proud of his son.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
appearing.
Pleasure's always.
Should we finish up in a more light-hearted way with some quick-fire questions?
The British way?
The British way. Come, sir.
Sure.
Ankit, some no prep, uncut, quick-fire questions.
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah. Just don't get me nervous with this look of yours.
I know, that's my game face. That's my quick-fire game face. Enid Blyton or Franz Kafka?
Franz Kafka. I just love his philosophy. I just love his dark philosophy.
Yeah. See you later, Enid.
Yeah.
Self-determination or fate?
Faith.
Pizza or paratha?
Paratha.
Old Thar, new Thar?
New Thar. That's a no-brainer.
Money or love?
Love.
Ankit Agrawal, you've been the most fantastic guest. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to seeing you
Thank you
again.
so much. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
On our show, we're privileged to meet all kinds of extraordinary business leaders, but honestly, I've never met one as human, as warm, and as authentic as Ankit Agrawal. And this, I think, is the heart of this billion-dollar idea. I'm Jasper Reid, and join me on the next episode for more incredible stories of entrepreneurs from India.